In this story, a young couple, Martin and Paris, Kenyan immigrants in Watford, have a beautiful baby daughter, Sandra. But struggling to juggle low paying jobs, long hours, and the demands of raising a child, they needed help. And they were offered it by complete strangers, the Zafars, a big family of older kids living across the street.
As a Muslim family, we took in a Christian child, and there was no concept of them and us. It was just, somebody needed help and we're able to give it.
No money is exchanged. There's no formal arrangement. It just sort of happened. And it happened in part because the Zafars, in particular their 18-year-old daughter, Saika, simply fell in love with baby Sandra.
When she moved in, it kind of brought us all together.
This is Saika. Within weeks of looking after Sandra, the little girl had begun to change their family. And already, she felt like part of it.
We had something in common to talk about. She'd become one of us. Everywhere I went, I took her with me. Asda, put her in the trolley and do my Asda shop, and I used to take her to the park quite a lot. And family houses, because we're a very, very big family. So we've got loads of first cousins, second cousins. So I dedicated a lot of my time to her. She was like my child.
Saika's mom, Adiba, felt the same.
कोई शक नहीं इसमें अल्लाह जानता है कोई शक नहीं इसमें my baby.
Absolutely no doubt about it. I felt as if she was my own, my baby.
Like, this baby was sent for a reason.
कि मैं घर में अकेली होती थी ना तो मेरा उसके साथ
I used to be alone, didn't go out much, didn't speak too much English. So having her at home was an absolute delight for me because I would spend all my time with her.
Sandra was toddling her way deeper and deeper into the Zafar's affections.
Oh God, we so enjoyed watching this baby grow, and funnily enough, her face didn't change. She still had that cute, round, little chubby face. She just got taller. Her hair got longer.
Parents, Martin and Paris, were hard at work, taking on extra hours now that they had such dedicated help. Sandra came back and stayed with them roughly every other weekend. A balance was shifting.
It's like we had visitation lights. It's like we would go pick her up on our days off, take her out, to McDonald's or take her to a zoo or spend a day with the baby and then take her back the following day or, even the same day if I'm working at night. So it literally became like they had the custody of the baby.
She was definitely more excited about coming back to us than what she was going to. There was no doubt about that. Even her mum and dad noticed that. They were working, so there's only one of them with her at any time. And then obviously there was 5 of our siblings and then my mum and dad. So our house was always busy, so she loved it.
Then all those baby firsts started happening. They were hard to miss out on.
To my shock, when I went there, they were telling me about the baby instead of me telling them what to do with the baby. And now they're telling me, oh my God, she can do this. Watch. Sandra, do it for mommy. Do it for mommy. I remember even Sandra's first song was taught by Saika.
Heartbreak Hotel from Whitney Houston. I'd sing that song and I'd make all these facial expressions and these hand expressions, and Sandra would copy. Paris loved it. She absolutely loved it because we gave Sandra what Paris couldn't, and that was a normal, happy childhood with a lot of attention, a lot of care, and a lot of love.
I mean, to me, Martin and I felt like outsiders. We came in and like they're happy family, and we are the one who are coming to actually mess up the relationship because we are not understanding even the inside joke. Her first word was Abba.
She's saying Abba. I say, hey, what's Abba?
Ami, Abba, So that's what she picked up on, which in Urdu means mum and dad. Now, obviously, there's 5 of our siblings, so she constantly used to hear it.
Sandra was a late talker, and now she was surrounded by 3 different languages: her mom and dad's, Swahili from Kenya, the English both families shared, and the Zafar's Urdu from Pakistan.
हम बोलते थे ना जी कोई बुलाए तो जी बोलते ना वो भी जी कहते
When someone calls us, we say G, which means yes. And she started saying G, G.
Paris and Martin were truly glad of the help, but no one had anticipated these complications.
Oh my god, that's awkward. Actually, I sat Saika down and I said, Saika, I think my daughter is gonna get confused. I don't want her to learn the language and she might not know English, and now it will be awkward because we can't communicate with our own child.
Paris did actually ask us nicely if we could just stick to speaking English. You know, we didn't think, oh gosh, how dare she tell us we're not charging for, her child. We respected this is her child, and this is what she wants. This is what she wants.
That's what I loved about them. They then respected that.
By now, everyone knew about the Zafar's deep relationship with the black baby girl from across the road, but not everyone was happy about it.
I did get a few looks, as in, what are you doing with your life? You dedicated your life to looking after this little baby. Sandra was very, very dark in skin colour. So I think there was a little bit of perhaps some kind of racism in the Pakistani community back then, as in, she's a black baby. And don't you feel kind of odd? It was really unusual to see a Pakistani family with a black African child.
Remember, Saika was in her late teens at this point, and to her the attention wasn't wholly unwelcome.
I felt like a bit of a celebrity, really, because people would constantly look and you'd think, they're talking about me. They're thinking, where's Sandra come from? So I did used to like the fact that I used to leave people intrigued.
हमें तो नहीं लगी मगर जो
We didn't think much of it, but other people around us did think it was a bit strange. We loved her so much. People used to gossip they must be related somehow.
But Saika's dad, Mr. Zafar, he knew that being the subject of gossip in their conservative Muslim community could cause problems. And it can hurt.
Dad sat us down one evening, and Dad said, you're not going to believe this, but I've had Asim. He was a taxi driver in Watford. He has said to me that the community are now talking about you, and they think that Sandra is the love child to my older brother, Shahid.
मेरा बेटा 5 साल के लिए कंप्यूटर कोर्स करता था
My son was doing a computer course in Germany, and people used to gossip. He stayed there for such a long time because he's met someone and had this child.
Which obviously in Islam isn't
Not what's acceptable or expected from a good family.
I mean, we laughed it off, but my father didn't, because he'd built up his respect, and now people are thinking that his son's had a love child. So, for him, his respect comes first and foremost.
The family discussed the matter, Mr. Zafar clearly anxious, and at that point, they might have chosen to end the arrangement and hand Sandra back to her parents. But Adiba stood firm.
Eventually, we just said people will say what they want to say. I don't care what people think. We love the baby. We know the truth.
Across the road, Paris was facing similar treatment. Lots of questions. Some African friends, who were from a Christian tradition, asking,
Paris, you're letting Muslim family raise your kid? What if they take her to the mosque? What if she learned to pray like they do? What if she... The if.
Martin wasn't troubled. He'd had Muslim friends back in Kenya. But Paris had to admit she did listen to the nagging doubts. Then, baby Sandra started copying other things she'd heard at the Zafars.
And I used to read a religious verse from Quran. There is no God but Allah, and Prophet Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. She would say the prayer in perfect Arabic.
She'd sort of copy the sort of actions on the prayer mat next to somebody, and we used to find that really cute. It's quite normal for a child to copy. Yeah, at one point I did think, oh dear, I don't want her family thinking that, we're trying to force our beliefs and our cultures onto her.
But the Zafars did love dressing her up. Sandra the toddler loved to wander around with a long scarf trailing behind her, just like Saika and Adiba.
I used to get traditional dresses from Pakistan for her, shalwar kameez. We used to give her a bath and put her in these new clothes, and she used to look absolutely gorgeous. I can remember a white dress because it had just looked so bright on her.
All this quality time at the Zafars meant Paris and Martin could dress up too. They were working, earning, saving, buying a home of their own. So why not do some partying? But those nights out for Martin and Paris sometimes highlighted the differences between the two families.
Anytime we were going out, I would tell Martin, "You're gonna drop the baby, but I can't
Yeah,
go
can
in
go in.
because she can't
Yes.
see me with a miniskirt." Or you know what I mean? Her parent, are really typical Pakistani family, so discipline was there. When I went there, I watched how I dressed.
They wanted to go out. Saika was only too happy to stay home and look after their child.
We thought, wow, this is a pretty good deal.
Felt good. Felt really good. Since the baby came, most of our friends, we couldn't go out with them, so we felt like we were missing out on something. So once we started getting that back, everything felt normal again. He got us back. He got us back together.
I knew that they were going out partying whilst I was looking after their baby, but it didn't bother me in the slightest. You go clubbing on a Saturday night and by Sunday morning you've forgotten all about it. There's no meaning to it. So I definitely got the better deal.
It was easy to accept the huge amount of time Sandra was spending with the Zafars when it suited Martin and Paris so well, but particularly because Saika never made them feel like she was doing them a favor. On the contrary, Saika actively wanted to spend as much time with Sandra as possible. The bond was real and deep. Even when they'd been together all week and it was time for Sandra to spend the weekend with her parents, Saika found herself wanting more time with the baby she'd come to love so much.
On the Saturday, I used to ring them and I used to say, we really miss her, can we pick her up? And they said, yeah, come on then. Then we used to go and pick her up. That's how much, it was almost as though we couldn't live without her.
There's a time we had taken her, and she was supposed to stay with us, and then Saika came to see her. She said, I was in the neighborhood, and I bought chicken and chips.
There was a barbecue in the garden, they had friends around. Saika stayed and ate, played with Sandra for a bit, and then was about to leave.
I said, baby, you gotta say bye to Aunt Saika now. And she go, no, I want to go with Saika. I was like a knife, and I was like, no, but you want to stay here with mommy, and we're gonna play in the backyard. Okay, she go, no, mommy, I want to go with Aunt Saika. I want to go see Nana. I want to go see Abba.
Paris let her go, ran upstairs, and shut herself in her room. Martin was playing host, wondering where she'd got to.
He came upstairs and he found me bawling, and he's like, honey, what happened? I'd find myself now wanting to spend more time with her and just forcing it. That whether she wanted to, I'd force it. And I'll be very honest, I went through a lot of that.
Paris and Martin had come a long way as a couple in the time their little girl had been spending with the Zafars. But Paris knew she was missing a lot. Things would have to change, again, and the ties that had formed between these two families would be pulled miles apart. Would the bond survive what was to come,